So you hear me talk a lot about purpose and how important purpose is for you to understand. It is important to your destination and where you're going, for you to have the ability to not only understand it, but to walk in it, to be able to articulate it to others. Why? Let's say you own your own startup business and you have an opportunity to meet a very important investor. And then there are 20 other people in the room with their startup companies. What sets you apart? What makes you different and unique and stand out so that you can compete with everyone in the room? It's your purpose. That's what separates you. So I'm not just talking about that I have a business that does this tech. I have these widgets. I have all these applications that do these amazing things. My story starts out differently. Say there are 20 million kids across many different communities that I visit and that I'm a part of. And so I felt compelled to really help them to move to new levels of their lives, because I saw that not only were there not community centers for them to visit, that there are not the ability for them to go off and have learning and engagement the way that other communities do. And so I set out to solve that specific problem. That's what I open up with as my business. Not what I have and not what I'm selling, but problems that I'm solving that are going to make the world a better place. See, that is what purpose does for you. It gives you a new spirit, a new language, a new way to connect to others, where they can connect to you the way that no one else can. So let's start with the steps, because that's the next thing that I get asked. They're bought in now. It's okay, Therese, I get your point. That story makes sense. Okay, but now how do I do it? And it is very difficult for you to tap into your purpose. I will admit, it's not easy. And you don't just have one purpose one time. The world changes, and as it evolves, your season may have a purpose one season, and then the next season, it evolves. There are times where you may have a multi-dimensional purpose for what you're doing. It's a time that you are solving problems for the world, but you also have to look at home and solve problems for your family. And so as a mother or a father, you're fulfilling your purpose in your family by raising your children to be incredible and amazing people. That's your purpose. Count that. So with all of that, just this huge ecosystem, then where are you going to plug in? You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go get a tech job. I'm going to start a tech business. People are now becoming digital beings. We're becoming digital citizens. And so it is crucial now more than ever for you to say, hey, here is what I'm going to do. Here are the things I'm not going to do. But how do you know what you're going to do if you don't understand your purpose first? And that's the key, because it shapes where you're going. See, your purpose is your destination. It gives you direction and guidance on what to do. So how do you know what to say yes to? How do you know what to say no to? How do you know if something comes your way that you shouldn't even be getting involved in? If you haven't gotten grounded in why you are here and doing what it is that you're doing. So that's why it's critical to first start with the baseline, because it shapes what you're going to be doing in this space. And let's start there. So now, step one, the very first thing to do is to set time aside for deep reflection. You see, lives are so busy. We're constantly on our cell phones, on our social media pages all day, on-demand knowledge, on-demand information, on-demand communications all day. And so now more than ever, for you to be able to go off to a quiet place and shut the world off around you, even if it's for a couple of hours. For me, it is to escape, get away, and that might mean that I have to go to a hotel room for one day, one night. And I call it one night of my ability to be able to be with me so that I can meditate, go through mindfulness, and being able to deeply reflect to say, in this moment, in this time, now that we are in year 2 with the pandemic, we are moving towards hopefully a post-recovery. The digital divide is getting wider. So now my purpose from 2 years ago may be pivoting to go after many children and families who are going to be left behind in the digital economy. I now am breathing life into my new purpose. So it guides what I do. So I do a lot of research and I deeply reflect on what's happening. And the research is telling me what's getting ready to happen on the horizon, that the gap is getting wider. And so my step 1 is all about deeply reflecting, how can me, what I do, how can I, and my skills and my capabilities help children and families who are getting ready to get left behind to move 100 steps ahead. Step 2 is all about writing and imagining where you're going. How do you get somewhere if you don't even know where you're going? And so writing it down and saying that by end of this year, in fact, now you write it down as if you're already there, to say that I am a multi-million-dollar business. I am a business that's going to make a mark in this world. My business is already doing great things across communities. And we're counting our first $1 million liquid in the bank today. See, it's what you speak into the atmosphere that manifests. And so the key is write down all of the places that you know you're going to be. Write down why it is that you need to be there, because that's the start. That list is the start of you understanding where you're going. Now your next step, 3. Now I need to look at this list and say, okay, now there are many things on my list about where I'm going. So I have to ask myself the question, what's stopping me from getting there? What's stopping me from having that $1 million business? Are my ideas too small? Am I fearful in taking risk? Am I not being bold enough? Am I not speaking the right things into the atmosphere and into the world? Do I have the right team around me? Am I surrounding myself with people who know I can do this? And am I elevating my world to achieve that? So you've got to know and understand what are all of the obstacles that are in your way, including yourself, that are preventing you from getting to your end destination. So this next piece is critical. You've got to look at yourself and say, what am I really great at? What can I do that's incredible and amazing and lifts the people around me? We don't do that enough. And you got to write that down. Because see, this contributes to you understanding your natural gifts. There are things that are in you that are locked up. Do you know how many people who have multi-million ideas that are buried 6 feet under in the grave today? There are probably trillions of dollars laying in the grave right now because people did not tap into their gifting. And we don't want that to happen to you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make that list. And I'm interested to see your gifts and what you really enjoy and love. And I want you to comment below. Step 5, look at the list that you have in front of you. I want you to look at everything that's there. And I want you to see your power. And while you're looking at your power, I want you to see places that your gifts are not showing up. Because I will tell you, many times people are even working on a job where their skills are not being used. Because the people around them know that the moment that they tap into where they're really great, that they're going to surpass them. So it is the job of the people most of the time around you to keep you unknowingly burying your gifts. Because if you were to tap into them, you would be much greater than them. And so you can't depend on the people around you to elevate you, take you to the next level. because then you're going to surpass them. And so it is important for you yourself to know and understand the places that you are not unleashing your gifts. And I want you to write that down, because that's a space that we are all missing who you are and lighting us up, so that as you achieve more in that space, you surround everyone with so much that you elevate us to achieve more in those spaces as well. So it is important to know and understand where you're not being utilized or underutilized. So as you continue to grow, I want you to take a look at that list, because 5 years from now, you're going to see new gifts that haven't been used added to this list. And your goal is actually really okay, because it means you're growing. But here's what it means even more. You've got to look at the world around you, the spaces around you, and understand that if one place is not leveraging your gifts, like where you work at now, then you've got to go to places that will. You don't just sit home and stay underutilized. You go serve in a nonprofit. You go help a startup company. But at the end of the day, you've got to continue growing and leveraging your skills. Can you imagine if the whole world were maximizing their capacity of their gifts, where we would be? It's incredible. And so right now, I want you to write down that moment of when you are doing that one thing, whether you're getting paid for it or not, that makes something leap inside of you. Because that's what we've got to tap into. When I see people waiting on a Super Bowl to come and they are super excited, and there's something in their belly that happens when the football team's running out and halftime's coming, it is a whole day of seeing people excited, getting together with family and friends and eating wings and everything else. And it is an amazing and incredible day for people. We got to find that. When you walk up to something, there are a lot of people who park their cars, get out, go to their job. Some people who go home and they're not excited. There's nothing in them that is excited. Now, next step. So it's important that you understand where this excitement doesn't show up in your life right now. We got to write that down. And then where does it show up when you're in your gift and you're in your element, you're in your zone? Where does that show up? Okay, so now you got your list, you got your gifts, you understand where things are showing up, where they're not. Oh, let's keep going. Step 8, imagine. And this is something we don't do enough. You know, I lead a lot of envisioning sessions. Well, what are those? They're sessions that allow people to just be a 3-year-old kid and just imagine. So you in your quiet time, and let me tell you how to get quiet time. A lot of people say, Therese, we can't get quiet time. The family, we have too much going on, too much to do. It's a choice to invest in that time and yourself. So what does that conversation look like? To the kids, we need a few hours. Because with these few hours that I'm going to get in quiet time, if you're good, and if you allow me to have this time, here is how it is going to benefit you. And then you give them an incentive to do that. It's very important. You have to negotiate the time to get away and to deep think. And I tell families this all the time, work with each other and then let the wife have time away. But you talk about it, negotiate and say, how is it going to better the family? Because right now you are at a critical season in your life where it can make a difference, whether it's income, whether it's quality of life, whether it is health, but you're thinking about the holistic goal of you and how it is that you can bring more to the table than you do today. And so this is worth the investment. If you've never done anything like this before, now is the time to begin setting aside time for you and your family, bringing them along the journey. And so now you imagine, involve them. Let them do the whiteboarding for you. Okay. So when you see yourself 2 or 3 years from now, what are you doing? What does that look like for you? What's blocking you from getting there? Remember, we talked about the obstacles. Now you're bringing it all together into a picture. See, your picture is your imagination. It's what you see. It's your lens. And it's an image of your future and a visual of your future to come. Now, what I want you to do is then imagine that if you are operating in your full gifts to capacity, what changes around you? How do people benefit when you are in your purpose, when you're operating in your gifting, when you're doing what you love, when you are excited about the world around you? And we're dealing now with mental health after the pandemic, depression, all of the things that have hit people. That's what this is about. It is about you discovering you so that you can unleash what's been locked up inside of you. So that once you unleash what's been locked up inside of you, you unleash the capacity of greatness around everyone in your path. That's what we've got to get busy doing. Now, next, the good part of what I love about this, because now I've got my list. I want you to write down from that imagination that you had. Think about everyone in your path. How are their lives better? I want you to write that down. That when you're operating in your full gifts, in capacity, in your purpose, and you are constantly serving others while you work still, while you take care of the family, but you are in full mode on a mission to make you better so that you make this world better. What does that look like to the people in your path? And how do their lives become better as a result of you unleashing your gifts and your purpose? Write that down. And if it makes sense, let's go to the next step. Write the person's name down. Write it right next to what you see, that their lives are going to be better. What will be better in that individual? I'm telling you, this exercise and seeing all of this on paper, or if you're like me, you're typing it all digital in your note, it really is going to transform your mindset and the way that you see purpose. And now you're going to connect to it a lot better and have a better understanding of your superpower in it, because you can imagine the world becoming better as you build better capabilities in you. It's an exchange, my friends. So 10, something that we don't want to take off of our list because it's so important, is then you start to map your gifts, your abilities, even the way that you see the world lighting up around you, to the needs of the market. See, that's a whole nother ball game. Because now it's going to require you to do the research, to say that we know that this is where things are headed in the market that I want to be a part of. That's important to me. Remember, your purpose sets boundaries. It disciplines you. It's your discipline to be able to move in the direction that's going to yield the best outcomes for where you're going. Now I know that as a result of the industry I'm going into, I know that I have a startup business and here's the industry I want to go into. It's going to force you to start to research the needs of the industry, the needs of the customers, customers, what's important to them, what's important to the market, what's important to competitors. How are competitors going in and being successful? How are you going to enter the market with your small business? Or if you're a corporate working in the corporate world, and now you're saying the role has these needs. Here are the gifts I'm bringing to the table. What in the world kind of opportunity you think and story that you're going to be able to create once the opportunity has met your gift? Oh, it's an explosion of opportunities there, right? Because now you're walking in the door with a new language. You're walking in the door confident and bold about what you bring to the table because you understand the needs. You've done the mapping of where you fit into the of the world. And then you're saying to yourself, now I know that for every place my foot treads, everywhere I go, every place I show up, I'm going to add value in every single area for that need. And it changes your position. It changes the way that you connect to others. And so this is all the power that you own and why purpose is so important. So here's what we're going to do now. You got your paper, you got your pencil, your pen, marker, whatever it is that you need. Let's go. I want you to draw a circle, okay? Your circle on your left is going to represent all of your gifts, okay? You got it? Let's go. Your circle to the right is going to represent the needs of the market or the needs of the role. Whatever it is that you're destined to do, you want to write the needs of that in your other circle. Okay? You got it? Now, here is the intersection of this Venn diagram that you're building on your own. And I see you. You're really, really doing great. And in that is the value that it's a transfer, okay? It is the value that you are going to bring to the market. It's saying that I understand my gifts. I'm matching my gifts to the needs. My gifts and needs will come together and there's going to be this explosion of value that's going to happen. And I will tell you, that's the narrative and the conversation that you walk in the door with every place that you go, whether you are on LinkedIn looking for new networks, whether you're on Facebook where you're building new opportunities, whether you're looking for new roles, new startup, your opportunity is right in the center. It's the value that you are going to bring to bear to people every place that you show up. That's power. Now, you're sitting here on what you're looking at, and I hope you're as excited as I am for what's about to happen for you. Now you take all of that, everything that you've done in this exercise, and you create your mission and your brand statement. See, your mission is your goal. It's where you're going. And so you're telling people, you know what? I have a startup company. I do photography. But more than that, I change lives. The work that I do and that I pour into the lives of others is not just about taking photos. It is about capturing moments. So my mission is I capture moments and I bring them to life. Now, how is that compared to, I'm just a photographer? Your mission is power. Your brand statement is power. I achieve these moments not only with the experience that I have, but I also have a spirit about people. And so I capture the essence and the moment of people in their moments themselves. And that's what moves my organization. It's the experiences that I give to people. Now, who wouldn't want to do business with you? Listen. This is serious. We are in a real competitive time right now. Businesses are having to compete. You're having to compete with jobs that are out here. The world is getting bigger. We're getting more automated. Digitization is taking over. The world of intelligence, of artificial intelligence, is taking over. And so now you have an opportunity because we're all starting at a level playing field. You have an opportunity to stand out, to be unique, to be remembered, to be separated, so that when you walk into a room, and I say this over and over again, you own the room. You dominate the room with your aroma. With your essence. So that when you walk away and when someone walks away from you, they can't help but feel the electric magnetic power that you brought into that room, and you bring the house down. And the only way that you can make all of these things happen is through the steps that we've just mentioned about walking into your purpose, unlocking it and unleashing it in ways like never before. And so you understand what aroma does, don't you? It lingers. It fills the room. See, Your essence and who you are fills that room. Let's stop there, aroma, so that you really understand how powerful it is. Your attractiveness, the spirit of your attractiveness. That aroma lingers in the room, lingers in spaces. It fills the room. So much so that your purpose transcends time. It transcends spaces. 5 years from now, that person will still remember you because your purpose is still connected to their heart. You want more? Follow me, Treese the Unicorn. Now let's go.